Hello everybody! Welcome to the Stanley Parable. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm playing this game, guys. You don't even know. I don't know if that's like visible. I don't know if you can see my fraps there, but I'm just gonna go through our settings really quick, make sure everything's... It should be okay. If it ends up being too loud, captions on, sound quality is on high. All the video settings are good. So, I have not played Stanley Parable yet. I know nothing about it outside of what I've seen of the demo. I know it's interesting, and there may have been one or two people who talked me into recording this just to... They want to know my reactions, and so I figure might as well. Alright. So... let's get into it. So yeah, Stanley Parable was developed and produced by Galactic Cafe. And... yeah, it's intriguing. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this game, but I'm curious. I'm definitely curious to see what my verdict of this game will be. I don't know how many episodes I'm gonna have of it. I don't know. I don't feel like it's ever going to be an official LP unless you guys decide you want it to be an official LP, then, you know, that's fine. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't really necessarily completely 100% know what I'm doing with this. I'm just making videos on the Stanley Parable because it looks so interesting.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Okay.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley, you're a tool.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright, so... can I click the phone button? Okay. Can I pick up things? This game is so... okay. Alright. I'm here! I'm gonna go to the options really quick. Just turn up the volume ever so slightly. Alright. Hello? Where the heck is everybody?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't want to go to the meeting room. There's no memo, man. People like left in a hurry, it looks like.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yeah. Not a single trace. Hello? 4:30, are you there? 4:30.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Hey, you don't even, I have to click everything. You don't even know, narrator. You don't even know. I'm gonna click this plant. I'll click this copy machine. Oh god, that's bright. I'm sorry, I blinded you all. Hello? Wait a... Okay. Got worried for a minute. Click in every door. What the heck? What is up? Where is everybody? What's going on? I think I'm going
Stanley
crazy.
clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Hey, you don't even know. I pick up on all the cues. I'll click on everything. It's not that I don't pick up on cues. So I'm a special snowflake. I don't do something just because you tell me to, narrator. You don't even.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You want me to, don't you? I'm going to, but only because I always pick left. I always pick left. It's what I do. Hello? Click on every door. Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
What does this say? Meeting room, floor 4XX, group planning. Do not alter with oat. Consulting whiteboard manager. Rest in peace, Franz. Weekly target admin, marketing Mondays, termination Tuesdays. Oh, that does not sound fun. Weekly review. Oh, office party? What day is it? IT department, boss inspection. What day is it? Then we can figure out what's going on. Push for funding of R&D of new coffee machine. Standardized graphs 40x wide. Get Chris out of the bathroom closet. Synergize papers. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are too synergized. Fire paper guy. Hire somebody to fire the paper synergizing guy. Who moved my desk? Please keep the targets on the topic of, and somebody smudged that out. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. What? Complete today's unfinished agenda items. Write next day's agenda. Okay. Are there any pens? Can I write? Sweet. Can I have these? Oh, I can crouch. Stanley gotta crouch. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other co-workers. Resent co-workers for not supporting you more. Rinse, repeat. Synergize core value. This is all synergize up in here. Shift global marketing. Monetize free to play. Oh, sweet. Yay! Wait, if everyone's unique, then nobody's unique. Unless everybody's unique in a different way. Target demographic teenagers. Requires more secondary research for stripes. The stock market is somewhere here. By quarterly review. Okay. What do we got here? We need less reviews. 402 plus 405 want to get rid of the death sport portion in the primary review schedule, but I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water cooler heaters. Charts needed to be more hip to appeal to teenage demographic. Find teenagers to put in teenage demographic. Big net? Some sort of child trap. Work harder, hard worker. Okay. Alright. We gotta get that demographic for them teenagers. Talk less, do unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no exceptions. Oh my gosh, okay. Oh, cool, broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
No, there could be. There's a broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Maybe I want to walk downstairs. You don't even know. Narrator. You don't even know. This place is scary.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Where are my feet?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
Okay.
I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
You sure?
And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float
Oh my God.
above the
No,
ground.
no, what the hell?
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared.
I'm
It was so
scared.
much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Okay.
Why is there a voice in my head
Yeah.
dictating everything that I'm doing and
Wait a
thinking?
minute.
Now the
What
voice
the
was
fuck?
describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And
Yeah.
while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was
Damn
Stanley
Skippy.
simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Right.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Yeah.
How else would the voice
Can you
explain
please-
all that?
yeah, explain
this
that,
voice
please.
was a part of himself too.
Yes.
Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the
Okay.
blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing
Yes,
the buttons.
please.
Please. It's all I
Can
want.
it has buttons?
I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always
yeah.
been.
I can't see.
My life
Wake
is
up.
normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Yeah. I'm still in my office. Place of
Stanley
work.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Yeah, come on.
And everything went black.
What? Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Okay.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Okay.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real
Are you sure?
and what
Because
isn't.
you are narrating this.
It was
right now.
comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay. What the hell, game? What the hell? Oh my gosh.